Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have set number 70675. This is the LEGO Ninjago Katana 4x4 from the summer 2019 wave. It has one instruction booklet, contains 450 pieces, retails for $50 in the United States, and contains 5 minifigures. The box is a relatively large box, just because it's really thick, and, it's got a lot of volume to it, but, like, only half of the box is actually full when you get it sealed. But, on the back of the box it shows all the features and everything, like a normal box. And this set does retail for $50, but I did get it on eBay for $27. The little bad guy side build here is extremely small, and it's very simple. But it is pretty much just a place to hold the scroll of Forbidden Spinjitzu, which, other than that, it's just this really small little space here. Uses 3 of these black rock pieces, which is kind of cool-ish, and 2 of these gray stone heads, or snake heads, stone snake heads, and you just stick the staff in there like that, and that's it. That's all there is. There's also this spinner for Nia in her Forbidden Spinjitzu form, which we will see the figure up close later, but, that's how it spins. Again, I have not had the most luck when it comes to figuring out how the heck to spin these properly. I always get a bit of a wobble, like you saw there, like that. Yeah, it always wobbles out really quickly, unless you're using one of the Spinjitzu Slam. That's actually probably the best spin I've ever done with one of these. But unless you're using the Slam base, it's a little bit hard to do. And you need one of the Spinjitzu Slam sets in order to have the little pieces to properly screw together. But you can just remove the slider plate and have it stand like that, and that on its own is a pretty cool looking thing. And Nia's has this glittery color to it, which is kind of cool, and the gunmetal gray, which works with her color scheme and just looks pretty nice. And here's the Katana 4x4, the full vehicle build. It's a pretty substantially sized thing, though it doesn't quite feel $50 substantial. I guess we'll talk about this later, but it feels like it's the same sort of size as the X1 Ninja Charger and the Ninja Nightcrawler, just with larger tires. But, looking at the actual the vehicle itself, one of the most striking features it's got here is these Urukai swords on the front. It's sort of a large sort of grill. It also uses these new wheel clamp pieces in order to get this cool gold and black color for the wheels. And, those two elements together kind of give it the majority of its special flair. But it does have a couple of stickers up here on the front. This is actually like a really slightly angled in piece, which is a little bit odd, but that's actually part of a feature that we'll look at in just a minute after we take a look at the external appearance. We do have these blades on the front, which you can remove and use as weapons if you'd like to, but they're really just meant for detail there. A couple of sort of exhausts on the side, which is a little bit interesting, and then some stickers going back here. I like these stickers here with that cool metal plating on the back. Those are kind of nice. And then we got stickers here for this spear, and they're also pretty much identical stickers on the back, and those line up pretty well together. And this can be moved up and down, so you can change the angle of that. In the back we have these little engines, which don't really do anything aside from look cool. And then you can kind of change the angle of those plates, but you don't really want to. And those are stickers as well. You have a shovel here, I guess if you get to the middle of the desert and need to dig something up, because it does seem like the majority of this season is about desert travel, and that's what the vehicles are for. We got this thing on the bottom here, which is part of a technical mechanism to move this saw blade on the front, which you push that forward and it spins, and you pull it backwards and it spins as well. So if you just keep doing this, it will just keep spinning back and forth, which is kind of cool. That is a good use of this saw blade. It works a little bit, it's working really well right now, but earlier you get to the point where it would, like that sort of, where it would kind of not really want to spin freely. But the way that this works is there's this rubber piece right here, and every time you push it forward, this gear spins past the rubber piece, and, it just makes it spin. And that works pretty well. You have to put a little bit of force into it to get it to kind of keep spinning. But it's a pretty decent feature when it works. And again, it's working a lot better than it usually does for me. Sometimes it gets a little bit stuck and weird. But in this video, it has worked perfectly fine, so that's good, I guess. And then we have some additional trans orange on the inside intakes of the engines. And just turning it around this way, there's another clip here, which just allows you to hold on to another one of his weapons. If we take a look at the cockpit, the back here, it's actually sort of like a pickup truck, which is a little bit interesting for a Ninjago vehicle. I don't think we've ever seen a Ninjago pickup truck before. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't think of one at least. But you could also just stick some figures back here if you wanted to. You could, use this as a little bit of extra troop transport, sort of. And, that's fine. And there's also a little bit of a cargo gear supply crate back here, which this is kind of cool because these are on droid arms, so you can kind of change the angle of this. You can leave it like that, sort of. You can pull it so that it's flat and covering it completely, and then you can just open that up like that. Or to open it up, you can just pull the whole thing up and then have all the access you want. It's kind of a cool, neat little feature there, and that just features extra pieces from the standard weapons pack that comes separately bagged. But that's pretty much all for the exterior of this vehicle, I guess, unless from the side it does look a little bit plain, and from the straight bottom on the back it looks really kind of thin right here. But there's a little bit of space underneath the weapon storage if you wanted to slide something else back there. Now, moving on to the cockpit section. This is a little bit of an interesting build, the way that it works, because we've got these pieces which kind of wrap in and kind of give it a good front profile, and you can see Kai's eyes right through there, which is kind of a good look. But it has got this printed dome-ish piece, like they use it for TIE Fighter cockpits, and you can open that up, and that's a good print. It looks nice. And then pull Kai out, and you can see there's actually some good detailing in here on the cockpit. We've got a nicely built up seat back, and then two printed tiles on the ground for some controls, as well as a little steering wheel, and all that works out pretty well, and just a good look for this this cockpit here. And of course, Kai's weapon is attached back here, and he can actually sit in here with the other sword attached there. The other thing that kind of helps wrap this together really nicely is you get these stickers here on these panels, which if you can get all the way down to the back and corner, it blends in perfectly. Mine's not completely perfect, but there's a very, very small gap there. And, you're able to really minimize that as much as you are comfortable with. And, however, whatever extent you like to get it to. But that's pretty much all there is for this vehicle. It feels like there should be a little bit more going on. This is the only special feature, really. I guess maybe the cargo bay. But, it's definitely got an interesting look to it. The interesting thing about this hood is that it's actually a spring-loaded shooter activator. And the way that it's built is really interesting. I would recommend, if you're interested, to check out the building instructions. But if you push down on the corner here, on either corner, it will shoot out one of the spring-loaded missiles. And there's just a little bit of play in there, and just pushing it down the right amount will make it shoot off. I have had it occasionally, if I push this down, it will still shoot off this side. Yeah, like that. Just because, I probably could adjust that by going back and taking this apart and rebuilding it, but it's, I think this side might be a little bit loose or something. And on the inside, I think that might be an error on me, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it's an error in the sense design, but I think that is my fault. So, it is still a cool feature, and it's really, really, really well hidden away. So I got to give it credit for that. And it's sometimes a little bit finicky. You really have to build this out in order to be able to determine where to push down for these. But if you just kind of are given this and told to figure out where the spring-loaded shooters are shot off from, then you might have a little bit of difficulty. First two figures that we've got here are Kai in a Season 9 outfit, as well as Nia in her Forbidden Spinjitzu outfit. And Kai is relatively common. He comes in the $20 Cole bike set. I think it's called Cole's Dirt Bike. And then he also comes in the Land Bounty and this set. So, he's one of the more common of this suit of ninja. And his weapon is a katana piece using the short katana from the weapon pack, as well as this Dragon Hilt piece, which is cool. Looks pretty good, and you can stick this in his back in place of the silver katana if you'd like. However, you can't fit him sitting inside of the vehicle while he has that on his back. But the torso print and leg print for him is pretty decent, and Nia and her torso and leg print, those are also present in the land bounty, in the non-Forbidden Spin 2 version of her. But Kai's face print is normal Ninjago movie face print, and then we gotta remove that in order for you to be able to see the back print on his torso. And Nia has this really cool gunmetal gray and translate blue dual molded Spin 2 mask. And, you know, it's a cool color combination exclusive to this set. And she does have her normal Ninjago movie and beyond face, and the alternate expression as well. And then for bad guys, we have the Pyro Slayer and the Pyro Whipper. And, you know, both of these are relatively basic versions of the just generic bad guys from the Fire Snakes. And, you know, this one here uses the common head mold. And, you know, it's cool how these are dual molded with the trans orange. You can sort of see through them a little bit. And, you know, it's nice. I like both of them. Their torsos and legs are exactly the same. So I'm only going to remove this one. But the interesting thing about the Whipper is that he's actually exclusive to the set as well, where he has this. It's the same mold that they use for Char, who we're going to look at in a second. But in brown and trans orange, it is exclusive to the set, actually, which is a little bit interesting. And it's cool to get, I guess. A nice little extra variant. But other than that, these are just relatively standard. And you get an extra one of these elven swords in copper. And last up, we have Char, who only appears in this set and the land bounty. So, you know, he's a pretty cool looking figure. I like the black and copper combination, and the black and trans orange combination to the head. That's pretty cool looking. And again, it does go for his eyes as well. You can sort of see that with the eyes and teeth. But, you know, it's got the same armor piece, which is a really cool mold. And he has the black tail, which actually has some really good printing. If we remove the weapon, which features 2 more of those gray snakes. And if we remove the head, which is the same mold, again, as that Pyro Whipper. And then remove that, we can see the rest of the printing on his torso, which is pretty good. And overall, I don't know, makes for a pretty decent figure. And definitely looks a little bit more striking than, you know, the average kind of mummified snake from this season. And one final thing to note is that, as with every other set that includes one of these scrolls of Forbidden Spin 2, you do get the full sheet of 3, so you can select whichever one you would like. But, you know, overall, I think that this set is decent for what it is. I appreciate the design of the vehicle, and I very much like the figures that are included here. Nia is pretty cool, and her Tornado as well is a pretty nice color combination there. But for $50, it doesn't quite feel worth it to me. It's got things going for it, but there are a couple other things that are just a little bit lacking. Like, this doesn't always work perfectly. And it just doesn't feel that much like it has that much more going for it than the Ninja Nightcrawler, say, which was $40. And it feels like it has less going for it than the X1 Ninja Charger from 2014, which was also $40, and that had 2 little bad guy vehicles as well. Even though this one is a little bit larger than that, I don't know, it still feels lacking. I guess it does have better figures than the Ninja Charger too, but I mean, it is $10 more expensive, and unless you're crediting $10 to this Tornado, which, yeah, that's worth a little bit more than your average piece, but not $10. So, hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.